because I'm right now in South Florida, Hollywood, Florida, and even though you live in the United Kingdom, you actually are calling in from Mexico.
Yes, welcome to Mexico.
That is a great way of getting to Mexico. And so I really appreciate you coming on in the middle of your time in Mexico, because you are an ascension teacher and part of the Bright Path Ishayas, and I actually took the course about a year ago, December 6th, 2017 to be exact, so it's a little over a year.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. That's right. Happy anniversary. We always got to acknowledge everything. And I knew from the time I took it, because I had already been involved studying to be a comologist, and the teacher, Sandy Newbigging or Sue Trotman, actually is also an Ishaya teacher. And there's always something that intrigued me about it, and didn't want to, I tend to overlap things, but this was a calling. And so when I found a convenient weekend, I took the opportunity, and I can't believe 2018 is just like gone, because there was so many things that happened, but in the space of ascension, it was almost like, you know, you just deal with it, because I learned how to work with my mind differently. So fast forwarding, something had me, well, I know what had me. I want to have my husband do the Ascension weekend and do the training, because one of the great things, in addition to being able to zoom in anywhere in the world with anyone, is I want to be able to travel with him to the different retreats and different opportunities that we can have. So
I love how you think.
that's totally selfish, but you know, so he's a willing player for many reasons. Not only that, but I know I did the Ascension weekend in December, and then I just jumped at the chance to go to a week-long retreat, which I've never done in my life, in Arizona, where the head teacher, Maharishi, was there with Manu, and that also was like a life changer. And I went on my own for the week, which was fine, and but I know that it would be great, depending on how things work out this year with our travel plans, to be able to go together. So
that's such a lovely couple goal.
Yes, yes. And there's a lot of couples that actually do this this work together, which I love, because I was saying, I had shown the movie A Mindful Choice last week, and I realized, and what I said was, we do so much together, and even though he respects and gives me a lot of my space to do the Ascension, we do it together, but not in the same way. So because we've done so much together in our lives, I just want this to be the added bonus of what we do together. And that brings me to why I wanted to have a conversation with you, because I've actually booked a weekend to happen with two teachers coming down from Colorado to on February 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that's actually in play. And I wanted to, you know, share this with my community and really have a conversation with you as a teacher who teaches the Ascension, the first level. And how we got to meet is, we actually did a second tier. I don't know if that would be called an advanced course or not, but because of the modern technology, we were able to do a course online, which I'm amazingly grateful. As I was saying when we started this conversation, I looked at some of the work we did, because it's all on recordings, and I can't believe, like, some of the little things that were bothering me, or like, oh, okay, like, move on, or, you know, just put it in a place where it just doesn't have to be in front of my face or in my head. We talk about how we live our lives in our head, and then we forget to actually be present in life.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just, you know, have you even share, like, why would someone want to take a first level weekend to learn Ascension training, or why would even someone want to learn this practice?
You know, most people come to this practice just enough, like your husband, because they've seen somebody in their life change dramatically from taking the practice. So that in itself, that kind of sows the seeds. So for people who don't know somebody who's taken this practice, it just takes that little bit of courage to follow your heart. because we all know that there's more to life than what we've been served. You know, generally, I find that whenever I teach these courses, we sit on the Friday night and we say, okay, why are you here and what do you really want? And if I could group the answers into the common boxes, the why are you here tends to fall into either a positive or negative. Either it's people want to get away from the negativity in their lives of, I'm feeling super stressed, or I can't quite cope, or I realize that I'm more reactive, more angry, just more on the edge, or more ill than I would like to be. Or they're coming for positive reasons. In other words, they're reaching for the positive of, I just know there's more, you know, like everything's great, everything's fine, I'm happy, great relationships, great job, you know, everything's cool, but is this it? You know, and for me, I remember reaching that point in my life where I think I was 33 when I started this practice, and I was having an early midlife crisis, I suppose, or like a slight existential crisis of, I had all my ducks in a row. You know, I'd started my career, everything was going well, I was in a relationship, you know, there was no money issues, everything was great. So why wasn't I happy? You know, why wasn't I feeling connected? Why wasn't I feeling love in my relationship in a way that I wanted to? Why wasn't I satisfied? You know, I had this gnawing hunger that had not yet been fed. I'd tried various spiritual practice, I had been religious for a long period of my life, but none of it had really satisfied that yearning for more, that yearning for truth, really. So I was lucky because I knew somebody who had walked this path just a couple of months ahead of me, and the changes in her were unbelievable. So I knew that she had tasted what I wanted. I knew that she was eating the piece cake that I really needed some of. So for me, it was a no-brainer. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, I need to go. But I really admire the pioneers, I call them, you know, the people who, they don't know anyone that's done it. They've maybe seen a talk like this. They've maybe seen the Choice movie, or just something in them says, I think these guys might have the real deal, and I'm just going to trust them enough for one weekend to show up and see what they have. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anyone that's ever regretted it. So I love it when people can just have that little bit of courage to say, either you seem to have what I want, or you certainly have figured out a way to let go of the things that I don't want to have anymore. So there's kind of two ways that people, I think, find their way into this teaching.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And sometimes I take it for granted. Like you say, you were involved with a lot of spiritual practices, and I definitely have my share, and I still keep other things intact, but it's almost like the in addition to, instead of, like, I haven't changed anything. But one of the things, and you know, we were talking, I was asking my husband, you know, what he got out of the movie, and also what he thinks about how I've been for the year. And it really warmed my heart, because one of the things, even though we have a great marriage, we've been married for 26 plus years and still going strong, which is really great. But I had tended to be very reactive. And I don't know if it's the New York in me or just, I grew up in a very reactive family. But I would always react, and I knew there was something more, like with all the insight and love that I had, why would I react all the ways? And I remember when I first actually got involved with Comology, and I had gone on a similar Zoom. I think one of my questions that day to put out there is like, why am I reacting? Because I remember, like, I have everything so great, like, why am I always reacting? And the good news is it doesn't even matter why I'm reacting. Once I started ascending, I started going within. And so it didn't even matter. And so then I just started getting a deeper level of peace. That the other day, my husband said, like, we have such a great relationship. He likes to go in the past a little bit. He goes, it's too bad that it wouldn't have been like this 20 years ago. But I don't think it matters whether it was like that 20 years ago or not, because we learn every day, you know. I wouldn't have gotten to this point probably, or wouldn't have been searching for that extra little piece, that polishing of my soul, if I didn't probably have those reactions. But I thought it was beautiful, and so I'm looking forward to the other level, you know, like, because we can never do anything. We can only do things for ourselves. So I see from the practice that I have, the quieting of myself and going into the stillness, whether I sit down and meditate or else I go in my life. So I'm looking forward to that for my husband and also people I care about, which is why I want to have the weekend. And so that part is so exciting. Like, people look at me and they say, you do so much, Bonni, but I also know, like, when something grabs my passion, it's never like you're doing much. It's just, you know, you're following your heart's desire. So this is kind of like a treat. Like I'm so glad that I'm able to do that, and so glad I'm able to connect with you to just share what's internal that maybe a lot of people don't know, that I don't always speak about it because I keep a lot of this part of my life private, but it's time not to keep it so private, because there's a lot of people out there that, like you said, are looking for something or searching for that little missing piece that could really make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, and there's this common belief that some people just are better at life than others, I think. You know, some people just say, wow, look at those people, they seem to have it all together, and they seem to be living their life in a certain way, and I wish I could have that, but that's not for me, you know. And the great thing about this practice is it's for everyone. And, you know, I mean, first of all, if you're looking at someone, especially through the lenses that we have on modern life, you know, through Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that, their life is not as good as it looks anyway. So, you know, let yourself off the hook. You know? But also, it's not a great, massive secret kept only for the gods, you know. And that's what I love about this practice, is it's so simple. It's ridiculously simple, actually, and the way that it just changes your relationship with your mind. You know, so we talk about wanting to make changes in life, or wanting to, for example, be less reactive. And the reason that we are maybe trapped in habits that aren't serving us, or find ourselves being incredibly reactive, is because of our relationship with our mind. You know, we're running, I like to think of it as like computer programs, and we haven't defragged the computer since year dot. You know, it's like we're running on VIC Commodore 24. Do you remember those? You know, like, you know, and we do have a smartphone up there. It's just that we haven't updated. You know, we're not, iOS doesn't even exist. You know, we need to defrag. We need to download the programs that don't serve us anymore. And ascension meditation is like, it's like taking your computer to the Genius Bar at the Mac store, and you've tried everything and you cannot get the thing to do the thing, and they just take it off you and press two things and hand it back and it works great, and you're like, you know. Ascension meditation can be like that, where you've been running on the hamster wheel of self-improvement, for example, or maybe anger management, or whatever program you are trying to fix the aspect of self that you feel like isn't working for you. And here comes this meditation practice, and you very simply and easily drop into the space within you that already exists, where you are already your highest self, you are already your best self, you are already your least reactive, most loving, most content, most fulfilled self. And when you can touch that part by going within, anything on the outside that isn't serving you just melts away. Overreactiveness, you know, I was very reactive and quite an angry person, and you had that reflected back to me in life a lot, but it just melts away. And instead of having to go through various programs to fix that stuff, what you're doing is healing the hurt that caused those behaviors in the first place. So when you've healed those hurts, the mind doesn't need to trigger in the same way it did before. The body doesn't need to react in the same way it did before, because the hurts and the stresses that got you there are no longer a deal. You know, it's not like you become a zombie. Of course, you remember them, you know what experiences you've had in your life, but those things that built the program, you get a chance to release them and let them go and have them return back to source where they belong, so that you can react appropriately. And isn't it even just that change? Isn't it beautiful to be able to react appropriately to your life instead of, and one of my acting teachers used to say, don't use a nuclear bomb to kill a cockroach, you know? You know, when we'd be on stage in acting school and trying to be really dramatic and like, she'd be like, this is a nuclear bomb to kill a cockroach, you know, this is not proper human behavior. And yet we'd walk off stage and go out into real life and realize people every day are using nuclear bombs to kill a cockroach. Turn on the news, you know, the newscasters are doing that, you know, never mind normal people out on the street. So for me, this practice is a great opportunity to discover the peace that already exists within. And when you find that, it's like having this magic milkshake that you can just tap into and suck down anytime that this becomes too much, and remember who you really are.
You know, I like how you described it, because I think that was part of the reaction, because I'd have all these emotions and I wouldn't know what to do with them. And of course you don't have to do anything with them, but how I don't even know if it was how I was brought up or society is, I need to do something with them. And I think I learned that I don't have to do anything with it, but it's easier said than done if you don't have a method or some distinctions to be able to just let the emotions pass through your thoughts, or you know, not grab onto them. And that's difficult. I was talking to someone the other day, and I had asked them if they meditated, and they said, no, I'm like, always have a laundry list in my head all the time. And I saw, like, because I had my own laundry list in my head all the time, like, and between the laundry list and the emotions and everything, of course I was going to be a walking reaction machine at every point in my life. And if someone said something the wrong way, they'd take it so personal. So then it was, you know, it was, I'm thinking I'm talking, and probably people, if they're listening who know me, would be like, what is she talking about? Because they never see me angry, and I probably am among the most peaceful or calm person that walks the planet. But at the same time, you know, I do a lot to be calm. You know, I work hard at being calm, but I don't have to work hard at being calm anymore, because I really just, when stuff happens, I just go into the meditation practice, and it always just amazes me. You know, I listen to what all the teachers say, and it really does work, you know, even if it means 2 minutes to step back and close my eyes or have that ascension thought. It's like, wow. Like, I could actually, like, going back to being present to life instead of, I know Maharishi said at the conference, it's like, are you actually in the same place that your body is in? And I remember that someone brought that up again, and I'm like, if I probably was in the same place as my body was in, my mind and body together, I probably wouldn't react as much. But that laundry list and everything else that happens takes me and so many people outside of, you know, that stillness that you just spoke of so beautifully, and want to embrace. I just want to say, when you were talking about the stillness and all the good things you get, I just felt like I wanted to get up and dance, like the freedom that I have of just not having to have the same worry or dread of each day. And not that each day is dread, but just silly things that, you know, can come into your day. I don't have to worry about it. And because I don't worry about it, my new word for 2019 and even for 2018 is, I just really live in the magic. And I really understand that. I always heard that growing up from different metaphysical teachers, but I never quite understood it. And I really get, like, the magic is just being in that present moment and don't worry about what's happening at the time. I mean, you have to be, of course, appropriate and be in action, but if you just don't get caught up in your thoughts and do what you need to do to put things in place, there's a magic that just starts happening, and things start coming to you in ways that I could never imagine.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's the beauty of being present, that serendipity gets to show up. You know, we've been trained, and it's only getting worse with social media and everything that we hear right now. I grew up in an army house, so I was very akin to, if you want something, you work for it. Like you want to get there, you work hard for it. Like there's always that trade-off. You work and then you get stuff. And also with my father's training of us as children, we were never really a team. It was like we were pitted against each other. There was healthy competition, so which was amazing training for the world, right? Like there's no real team. Everyone's out for themselves. If you want something badly enough, you work for it and then you get it, and that's how the world works. And you know what, on many levels, my dad was right, and I'm grateful for that training, because it got me really far in life, but it was hard work. And then also at night you go to bed with that loneliness of everything I've got in my life I have worked hard to achieve, or everything I haven't got in my life, it must be because I have somehow failed and not worked hard enough, or not been good enough, or not quite made the grade. These were the stories that I was telling myself, and I'm on my own. We can pretend that we're in families or in teams, but ultimately we're on our own and we work for ourselves. So for me, I was carrying around this kind of, not in my face, not there all the time, but this low-grade loneliness, even in relationships, and this overwhelming sense of responsibility for this life that I had been blessed with and given, and what an incredible thing. And yet the carrying too much responsibility of the weight of that, of saying, I mustn't waste it. I mustn't spill a drop of this precious energy and being that I've been given. And that gets really heavy. That gets really, really heavy, especially once you get outside of school and you're not getting gold stars anymore. There's no one left to give you that tick of like, you're doing really well, when you're just in a job, in relationships, living life. It's like, how am I doing? I don't know. And my job here is to work really, really hard. So how am I doing? And with this practice, one of the first things for me that fell away was that idea of work and then equal amount of reward coming back. And what I started to realize really quickly was that the universe was there for me, that the universe had my back. And I got to see that actually my life had not been about me putting in X amount of work and receiving X amount of credit. It was me having an intention, having passion, lining up with that, putting in X amount of work, and then really the universe holding me. My little feet might have been running, but most of the time the universe was holding me. And part of my growth and enjoyment over the last 10 years practicing this has been to realize this is gonna, like, past me is going, what? But realizing how lazy I can be in this life. And I label it lazy because that's how it feels to my mind, that what you can just have an intention, and of course do some work, like you say, have the responsibility of taking action over your life. But really it's about lining up with the desires in you that are already there, and then doing enough to put that in practice, doing enough to commit to that and walk forward with it. And then you sit back and you're like, I'm working, but it's not my effort. It's not my sweat and tears going into this. That energy even seems to be coming from somewhere else. And the rewards don't seem to be anything that you can take credit for, because there's so much more than this effortless effort that it took to get there in the first place. So for me, that's been kind of like a practical magic to experience over the last 10 years, is that, because I often, when people talk about magic, I'm so practical. I kind of just go like, oh yeah, really? Are you talking about seeing fairies and stuff? Because this isn't for me, But the practical magic of watching things unfold, of having the clarity even of what my heart's desire is, having the clarity over the passions that serve me, and then the ability to choose to focus in on those and put my time in on those, has led to a much smoother, much easier, much more seamless life that has worked out in ways that my mind will never understand. Because often, I've always loved this saying, God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers, because often we actually don't know what's good for us, and we actually don't know what would be the perfect life for us. But if we can tune into the desires of the heart, or even the things that gently intrigue us or interest us, because passion doesn't always come, on Pegasus in the middle of the night. Passion sometimes is a gentle curiosity of, aha, I wonder if. And if you can be quiet enough and still enough to listen to that wonder if and follow it, it's like Alice going down the rabbit hole. You end up in this entirely different world, so familiar yet so incredible.
Right. I know we're getting to our time, but I did want to say two things. That quietness, I think, with all the things we spoke about, I'm really in touch with that quietness, and I can hear it. And at different times in my life, I've heard it, but now I appreciate it. I really get, where I have to go, and I actually, it really directs me. And not knowing, but it really does direct me. And like I said, I think that quietness one day said that I need to bring the Ascension, the first fair weekend to South Florida. So that's part of that quietness that's calling, and I just honor it as long as I know it's for the greater good. The last thing I did want to say, and I realized, because we are going into 2019, and a lot of spiritual teachers are talking about well, number one, we have so much access to stuff that we didn't have before, because the world is shifting, and a lot of people are doing these modalities to go within and tap into their passion. And I really feel this is the year, like, for people, if they haven't really understood or found a practice or felt comfortable, whether it's this practice or something, this is the year that the universe or the world is saying, okay, if you have passion inside, this is the year to do it. It's time. Like, it's not hiding anymore. And even though I've done different videos on social media, like, I don't want to hide anymore. Like, it's the same thing. Like, I think I'm getting that call. Like, it's not like this. It's not about hiding anymore. It's about sharing different truths with the world, so that everyone can go to the next level in their passion or whatever else they're here for on this planet. So do you have anything to say about that? I don't know if that's something that you are connecting with as well, but that seems to be a conversation with a lot of people out there. Like, this is the year, and the universe is moving towards that. We live in our passions.
Wow, it's super exciting to hear that's been your experience, that everyone's saying, like, do it now, like, oh, I love that. But also that you're so willing and easy to talk about what it is that you do in your normal life as well, that we are spiritual beings, and I think that's something that's becoming more and more prevalent and easily understood, is that for so many, many, many years, human beings have been divided into, spiritual people and non-spiritual people. And I'm kind of like, what? Like, we all have spirit. If you think of spirit as just that quiet place that you go inside when nothing out there works, that's spirit. If you need, on a Friday night, a glass of Chardonnay in the bath with Ella Fitzgerald playing, that's feeding your spirit. I think spirit has become, or soul, or they've become these like woohoo weirdo things, thanks 60s. But really, it's a spiritual life is what we all crave. That's the what else, that's the what more. So whether it's this year or not, it's, if you've got a hunger, it's time to feed it. And that might happen this year, or it might happen right now, or it might, who knows, because I also kind of get this, I'm not a great salesperson, because I get really relaxed about these things. I'm like, just keep following the hunger and you will find it eventually. And yet, on the other hand, why suffer more? If you've been living a life where you're not feeling fully connected, and you're not experiencing things as deep down they should be experienced, with ease, with magic, with love, with compassion, with connectedness, then why wait? You know, why wait? This stuff that we do here with Ascension Meditation is the real deal. And there's very few real deals out there. And the reason that this is a real deal practice is because there's no worship involved, there's no deities, there's no strict dogma or regimes. It's simply about allowing you the opportunity to let go of what isn't serving you. And what isn't serving you, I guarantee you, is the relationship that you currently have with your mind. And when you can set that aside, not letting go of mind, not letting go of intellect, not letting go of your sharpness, but when you can set aside all of the other stuff, the laundry list and the programming that doesn't serve you, you get to experience life from the stillness, life from what is. It's honestly, this is the road to Damascus moment, when you can fully connect with what is already inside of you. The scales fall off, and it's magic is the word for it, because it's that thing of, how have I not seen this? How have I not seen that all I had to do was connect with myself? And yet there's a little trap here, because there's a lot of people out there professing that they know how to connect to self, and they're connecting to their ego. So you do kind of have to be discerning with the practice that you take on board. And what I love about the Ishayas is that we're wide open. As you know, you can chat to us anytime. You can go on the website and fully check us out and fully get involved. Meet as many of us as you need to in order to see that it's actually an authentic experience of connecting with self. And we're not asking you to connect with ourselves. We're asking you to connect with, inviting you to connect with yourself. Because for all of us, what happens when we let go of the programming, what happens when we let go of the projections into the past and dragging around the future, the other way around. There, sorry, I haven't had coffee yet. When we let go of all that extra stuff, what we're left with is different for all of us and yet the same. It's different because it's who you truly are. It's your true flavor. It's your true expression. It's really what you came to give to the planet. And what a wonderful gift to know what that is. And yet it's the same, because, and any, deep scientist, physicist will tell you this, we are actually all one thing. There is only one thing. And when you connect with that on a deep human level, any idea of loneliness or striving or unworthiness or us and them simply isn't there. And when we can get enough people on the planet to do that, to just connect within, yeah, I want to be around for that ride.
Yeah. Wow. Beautifully said. I think I may just take that last 5 minutes and just use that. But it was beautifully said. Unfortunately, I have to come to an end. I have to get to work. But I appreciate the early morning start, even though this will be played when it is for people to watch. Thank you so much.
Oh, Bonni, thank you so much for your passion and your commitment and your love. It's so great. I don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for many people.
I feel
I was
very
like,
honored.
yeah, I can get up early. That'd be cool. And when my alarm went off this morning, it was like, yay!
Yeah. I know. I love it. I love it because I am thankful for the international hours, because I could get a lot more in. I do get enough sleep, so I do that. That is important to me. But when I woke up this morning, I did notice, like, I didn't linger in bed like I normally do. So this was good for me too, because I tend to, I do have this habit of getting up and meditating, but technically I don't know always if I'm meditating or sleeping. But because I got up and actually was sitting in this chair, I actually appreciate being a little bit more awake to start my meditation, even though ultimately you close your eyes to awaken, as they say. So I'm glad to start my day in a great way. It'll be great, and it's Friday, or today's, we're taping it on Friday, right before the New Year's weekend. So I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
yeah, and if someone who's watching is just moved or stirred, whether it's this weekend or the Ascension weekend that's happening in February, or just another time, or um, it doesn't even have to be in South Florida. It's anywhere in the world. People can go to the brightpath.com, and it's bright, BRIGH, the brightpath.com, and they could look at the schedules, and there's always a course. I'm looking in America, but like I said, you're from the United Kingdom, and people want to travel. They have it everywhere, and every teacher that I've met has something valuable to offer. It's not about the teacher per se, even though it's great when you connect with great teachers. It's about the teaching.
Mm.
So I appreciate it. And so now you have a full day ahead of you, since it's so early in the morning.
I'm up, I'm showered, as you can tell. So thanks for that gift.
Yes. So thank you very much.
No, thank you, Bonni. Beautiful connecting with you as always.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love you a whole lot. Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.